everybody, and this is Bill the Adjuster with your Smart Claim Tip of the Week. And I'm guessing if you've seen the news, you've seen everything that's going on in Texas and the snowstorms throughout the East Coast, the Midwest, and power failure is a big issue. There are two types of power failure. There is the power failure that specifically affects your home or your business, generally from a covered peril, such as a tree came down and broke the power line off to your building. Then there's the other type of power loss, which is a broad area outage, which is usually failure from a much larger reason, a transfer switch or a transformer from the utility company. They are handled completely different from one another. Number one, if it's specific to your home or business, that would be a direct interruption. So we would prove that the tree came down and broke the power line on my property and created the power loss. That means that everything happening from that moment forward is covered. So it triggers additional living expenses, meaning when you're out of power, you generally need to move out of the property. So therefore, it would be covered for you to go to a hotel. It would trigger business interruption coverage, meaning the losses that start to accrue because you can't operate your business also start with that moment. Now, there may be a time deductible there, but it also triggers a duty to maintain heat. So you got to remember that when you lose power, you don't lose the responsibility under the contract. So you still may need to provide temporary heat and to protect the property from further damage, which may require emptying the plumbing and draining the systems or providing temporary power to keep the property from freezing. You need to remember that, because if it does fail and you just left that property because you had a power failure, the duty to mitigate and keep that property from further damage still remains in place. Now, a broad area of power outage is the more common, meaning power is out everywhere, the block, the neighborhood, the town, 4 million homes in Texas. Coverage does not trigger from a power failure. Power failure is actually not a covered loss. It's also generally not a trigger, with some few exceptions in commercial policies. It's generally not a trigger for additional living expenses or business income losses. But it does trigger coverage for what we call ensuing damages. And basically, when you have a power outage, the ability to maintain heat in a property becomes extremely limited, and therefore frozen pipes occur. Now in Texas, that is the biggest issue, right? So we have everybody lost their power basically simultaneously. Now the pipes are freezing. Even though a power failure is not a covered loss, your ability to maintain heat has been removed. Therefore, the frozen pipes are still covered. The ensuing damages from both of these scenarios, so frozen pipes, whether it be general power loss or specific, frozen pipes are going to be covered. Some pump endorsements on residential policies generally also are triggered because they don't have power to run. Therefore, the endorsement kicks in and does cover the damage from an inundation or overflow of a sump pump. Food spoilage starts to occur. Most people say, well, if it's that cold, put the food outside. Ironically, most people do lose most of their food after a power failure, generally covered under either condition. Again, additional living expense generally going to be covered only under the direct loss, meaning your property only, but ALE could then be covered once the power is restored and the water damage caused you to have to move from the property. So if I have a broad power failure, loss of power to my property, frozen pipes, no coverage for ALE. Once the pipes defrost and create water damage, power's back on, I may now have additional living expense coverage. One of the biggest items that gets damaged from power failures is flooring. Refrigerators melt down, the ice cubes, the ice cubes in the ice chest and the freezers melt down and cause damage to flooring. So please do yourself a favor. Anywhere that there was frozen food or frozen product, look around the general area of that floor, because the power failure generally triggers the discharge from those devices. Hopefully that helps you, and if you like what you saw on the video, please share it. We do offer 24/7 emergency claim service. We'll always review your policy, communicate in any way. If you have any specific questions or you want a smart claim tip,